a Dutch historian named Gilles Quispel heard about some peculiar discovery of early Christian texts in Egypt. And Quispel got on a plane and went to Cairo. He went to the Coptic Museum in Cairo, and he went there and got photographs of the first of these texts.
That was in the fall of 1956. It was a numinous experience to have before you a text that you don't understand at all and bring these characters together and relate them to history. And every time there was, Jesus said, Naime en Sjatje et heb en ta Jezus et oner Tjoe, au afsahaisu.
And the first thing he read was the words, "These are the secret words which the living Jesus spoke," and his twin brother Thomas wrote them down.
These are the hidden words which the living Jesus spoke, and Didymus, Judas, Thomas, wrote down. And he said, whosoever will find the meaning of these words will not see death.
We here have authentic documents by the Gnostics themselves, not reports about them, as we hitherto had mainly through the church fathers who fought the movement and tried to discredit it. We have here their authentic voice.
The discovery occurred completely by accident in 1945. The discovery was made by an Arab peasant who lived in a small town near the town of Nag Hammadi in Upper Egypt. And his name, of course, was Muhammad Ali, in fact, Muhammad Ali al-Saman.
He and about 7 other camel riders were at the foot of the cliff digging for fertilizer and lit upon this jar.
Muhammad Ali says they dug it out and found it was a large earthenware jar, about 6 feet high.
When he broke it, he took the books out, claims he divided them among the camel drivers, which is one reason that some got ripped apart. You can't divide 13 books into 8 parts very readily.
And he said he saw gold, pieces of gold floating through the air. But to his great disappointment, it turned out to be simply pieces of ancient papyrus that shattered as the jar was broken.
They were discovered on the flank of a cliff. There is a very large boulder that fell off at some time and broke when it impacted. And on the east side of that boulder is where the discoverer pointed out to me he was digging for fertilizer and lit upon the jar. He came and with his mattock broke the jar and got out the book. El Saman clan, which dominates many of the villages in that part. He is a peasant. He is illiterate. He is a Muslim, worked as a camel driver for a middle-class Copt, and in his generation that was typical. The Copts were the white collar and the Muslims were the physical laborers. It's amazingly beautiful. Some of the papyrus is so light that if you were to take a leaf on your hand and lower your hand, it would float through the air down. It is so light. When he got them home, he dumped them in the patio, and his mother used some of the papyrus to heat the clay stove in the garden that they baked bread.
He said no, he doesn't care at all about it.
Your discovery will change the mind of millions.
بقول لك ان اكتشافك هيغير تفكير الملايين.
So I'm very pleased to meet you.
ومع ذلك بوك متشكر جدا ان هو شافك وقابلك. You might سلم عليه يا محمد.
Salam, salam.
سلام يا رجل.
One thing has become certain now for me, that is that these manuscripts, these beautiful manuscripts, were written somewhere in one of the neighboring monasteries. I imagine that some monks who were living there in such a monastery felt the pressure of the Bishop Athanasius. And then, at a certain moment, when it became too dangerous, they decided to hide these manuscripts. They didn't burn them, they didn't destroy them, they didn't tear them into pieces, but they simply hid them